Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about polynomial division. Before we get into polynomial division, I thought we'd start with a regular division problem. If you are doing these problems with me at home, you're going to need plenty of paper. These are long problems, so let's take a look at this. Let's start off with a third grade problem, long division, because the steps are the same. The bottom number goes outside, the top number goes inside. So here's the process. We divide first. How many times will 8 go into 3? None. So how many times will 8 go into 34? 4. So we divide, and then we multiply, and then we subtract, and then we bring down the next number. So we divide, multiply, subtract, bring down the next number. And then repeat. How many times will 8 go into 28? 3 times. We divide, multiply, subtract, bring down the next number. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down the next number. Divide, multiply, subtract, but I'm out of numbers. Now in third grade and fourth grade, you would have just said that's remainder 7. But now you should know that the actual leftover part is 7/8. So my answer is 4,354 and 7/8. It's the remainder over whatever you divided by. So it's divide, multiply, subtract, bring down the next number. That's the same process we're going to follow. Let's take a look at this problem. Write the bottom on the outside. Write the top on the inside. And sometimes it helps to have a little scratch paper as you're doing this to check this out. So we're going to divide. How many times will x go into x to the 4th? If it helps, write it out. What's x to the 4th divided by x? X to the 4th divided by x is x cubed. So I'm going to put an x cubed right there. Now erase that so I have room. I divide, and then I multiply. X to the 4th minus 4x cubed. What's my next step? Subtract. Be very careful here. These will cancel. What's negative 7 minus negative 4? That's negative 7 plus 4, so that's negative 3x cubed. And bring down the next term. So, divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Let's repeat. What's negative 3x cubed divided by x? Negative 3x squared. Divide. Now multiply. Negative 3x cubed plus 12x squared. Subtract. These will cancel. Those will always cancel or else you've messed up. 17 minus 12 is 5x squared. And now bring down the next one. Minus 27x. Repeat. 5x squared divided by x is 5x. Multiply, I get 5x squared minus 20x. Now subtract. Be careful. What's negative 27 minus a negative 20? That's negative 7x. And now bring down the last term. Plus 28. What's negative 7x divided by x? It's negative 7. Multiply down. I get negative 7x plus 28. Subtract. And I get 0 with nothing else to bring down. So there's no remainder here. What's my answer to this problem? X cubed minus 3x squared plus 5x minus 7. That's called long division. Polynomial long division. Let's try another one. 2x plus 3 goes on the outside. 6x to the fourth plus x cubed minus 24x squared minus 14x plus 6 goes on the inside. I'm going to go a little bit faster this time. 6x to the fourth divided by 2x is 3x cubed. Multiply down. Subtract. Bring down. I can go fast because I've done it a lot. Eventually you'll get fast at this too. Divide. Negative 8x cubed divided by 2x is negative 4x squared. Multiply. You get negative 8x cubed minus 12x squared. Be very careful. You're subtracting here, so that's negative 12x squared minus 14x. Divide. You get negative 6x. Multiply down. You get negative 12x squared minus 18x. Subtract, you get 4x plus 6. 4x divided by 2x is 2. 2 times 2x is 4x, and 2 times 3 is 6. No remainder this time either. So what's my answer? 3x cubed minus 4x squared minus 6x plus 2. No remainder to worry about. Let's try this one. And this one is a little bit tricky. Not because it's any different, but because of the way it's written. X plus 2 goes in the bottom. Notice, I start out with x to the fourth. My next term should be x to the third, but I don't have any x to the thirds. So I have to dummy in 0x to the third. My next term should be x to the second, but I don't have any x to the seconds. So I have to put 0x to the seconds in there. My next term is x to the first, so minus 2x plus 3. This is very, very important. You have to make sure that you put in zeros for things that you skip, or else your problem will be wrong. Your x's won't match up. If you want, pause the video for a second and try to do this problem, and then I'm going to do it for you. Okay, let's divide. X cubed, that makes x to the fourth plus 2x cubed. Subtract, I get negative 2x cubed plus 0x squared. Divide, you get negative 2x squared. Multiply. Subtract, and you're going to get 4x squared minus 2x. That is going to make plus 4x. Plus 4x squared plus 8x. Subtract, you get negative 10x plus 3. So negative 10x divided by x is negative 10. Multiply down, you get negative 10x minus 20. If you subtract those two, you get a remainder of 23. I don't want to put remainder 23 in this problem. I want to put plus 23 divided by, what did I divide by? X plus 2. So that's my answer. X cubed minus 2x squared plus 4x minus 11 plus 23 over x plus 2. This is the first problem that we've had that did not divide out evenly. The others divided out evenly. That's polynomial long division. Is there an easier way? Thankfully, yes. If we just have x plus a or x minus a, then we can use a system called synthetic division. This is what I use when I do these problems. If you use synthetic, we don't use the factor. We use the 0. And I'll show you what I mean. Here's how to do synthetic division. I can do synthetic division because it's just x minus 2. It's not 3x minus 2 or 13x minus 2. Just x minus 2. The 0 that goes along with this guy is x equals 2. So I'm going to put a 2 here, and I'm going to draw some lines like this and like this. And I'm going to put a little box in this corner. That's what synthetic division looks like. It's got those two lines and a little box in the corner. Now, I'm not going to write this entire thing. I'm just going to write the numbers that go with it. 1x to the fourth, negative 10x to the third, positive 21, x squared, minus 20, x, and positive 20, regular number, over top of that little box. Now here's the process for synthetic division. Drop the first one. Now we're going to multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. So multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. So what does this answer represent? Well, negative 10 is a regular number. Positive 5 is x to the first. Negative 8 is x to the second. And 1 is x to the third. What do you think the 0 represents? It's the remainder. In this case, there is no remainder. This divided out evenly. Now, isn't that process a lot faster than long division? Synthetic division is much faster. Remember, drop the first, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add, until you're out of spaces. Let's try it again. Let's set it up. Let's draw our little synthetic division lines. What number goes in the top left corner? Negative 3, the 0. Now be careful, you're missing some terms in here. 1x to the fourth. No x to the thirds. Negative 3 x squareds. No x's, and 9 as a regular number. If you guys want to pause the video and try this, go ahead. Okay, I'm going to do it now. Drop the first one. Multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, that's 54, add 63. So now how do I write this? Well, this is negative 18 is a regular number, positive 6 is an x, minus 3 is an x squared, and 1 is an x cubed. But I have a leftover of 63. So what do I do with that leftover of 63? It's my remainder, so I put it over top of whatever I divided by, x plus 3. That's synthetic division. It works when this number isn't 2x or 3x or 4x, just plain x. Polynomial division is something you need to get very quick at. Okay, factor zeros in polynomial division. What is the relationship between a factor and a 0? Well, basically, if you have x plus a as a factor, that means that the 0 is x equals negative a. If your factor is x minus b, that means that your 0 is x equals positive b. How can we tell if a term is really a factor of a polynomial? There's two ways to do it. Method 1, we can divide out. If something is a factor, there should be no remainder. That's one way, and that's pretty much the fastest way. Is there another way? Sure. You can plug in the 0 that matches the factor. And if it truly is a 0, your answer should be 0. So there's two ways. We can divide it and see if we don't get a remainder, or we can plug in the 0 and see if it really is 0. Well, let's take a look at this. Check if x minus 3 is a factor of that. Let's divide it. And I'm going to be lazy and I'm going to use synthetic division because I can. I will use synthetic division as many times as I possibly can to avoid long division. Why did I put positive 3? Because you use the 0 when you do synthetic division. If this answer is 0, then it is a factor. Drop, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. This is a factor. So that's one way to do it, is to divide it and make sure you don't have a remainder. The other way is to plug in. If you plug in 3 into that problem, you get 3 cubed minus 10 times 3 squared plus 25 times 3 minus 12. So that's 27 minus 9 times 10 is 90 plus 25 times 3 is 75 minus 12. 27 minus 90 is negative 63 plus 75 is positive 12 minus 12 is 0. Yep, I plugged in 3 and I got 0. So yes, it's a factor. You can check it both ways. You can do division or you can plug in the 0 and see what you get. And that does it for polynomial division. Remember, there's long division, which will always work, or there's synthetic division, which works if there's not a number in front of x. And if you want to check these things, you either plug them in and see if you get 0, or you divide and see if you get a remainder of 0. Thanks.